So this is a video I've wanted to make for a while because I often get messages from people asking how they can tell the difference between real fur and fake fur. So I thought the easiest way to do it would be to put it in a video. So I'll show you guys some tips on how to spot real fur and how to avoid it. Unfortunately, a lot of real fur has made its way into people's wardrobes without them even knowing. A lot of products are labelled as faux fur when they are actually real fur, so people are buying it without having any clue that they're actually buying real fur. But thankfully there are ways that you can tell the difference, and like I say, I can spot real fur from a mile off now, so hopefully once you know what you're looking for, you won't get caught out by buying real fur. So I've got two hats here that seem pretty similar to each other. They've both got a furry pom-pom on top and they're both knitted, but one is real and one is fake. So I'll show you how you can tell the difference by looking at the fur. So when the hats were side to side, at a glance they look pretty similar, but when you actually put the fur next to each other, there's big differences, and that's what makes it easy to spot the real from the fake. So this one here is real, this one here is fake, and I'll show you how you can tell the difference. So at a glance, with this one, you can see even just by moving my hand there, it's already kind of picking up the movement. Real fur is a lot finer than faux fur. So you get a lot of this real fluffy stuff towards the middle, and then it fans out into these real points and these longer bits towards the end. And faux fur, you can see here, is much more uniformed pom-pom. You don't have all this fine fluff like you do on the real fur. It's just pretty uniform. You get some of this, it's trying to emulate the real fur. You get some of these longer strands, but it's nothing compared to on the real one. And if we take a closer look at the real fur, I find the number one way to spot real fur is if we look for this kind of real fluffiness, because you don't get that with faux fur. But also, if you gather the hair into a point at the end, you'll see that the hair actually goes to a point itself. It goes to a fine tip at the end, exactly the same way that a cat or dog's hair would. So if you gather it to the end and you've got a fine point, it's real fur. And now I'll show you the same technique but on the fake one. So this is the faux fur, the fake fur. Once again, you don't get any of that real light, fluffy, fine hairs. And if we bring it to a point here, you can see it's really blunt. So that's a dead giveaway of faux fur. It's blunt because obviously it's been made in a factory, so where it's gone through the machines and it's cut it off, they can't obviously emulate that really fine tip. So that's a real giveaway of fake fur. And if I put them side by side, if I try and push them down, so you'll see, so here's the real fur, here's the fake fur. So real goes to a point and fake is a blunt edge. And that technique can be used on any fur, not just the pom-poms. So I've got two trims here. So this one was donated, it's real fur. It was donated during outreach with someone and they kindly donated it. And this is fake fur that I used to wear on an old coat, which I no longer wear. And you can use the same technique on that. So with the real fur, once again, if you take it to a point, you've got the pointy fine edges that go to a tip. And then with this trim, which is the faux, you can see probably even more pronounced than on the pom-pom. It's really blunt. So side by side, you've got the real that goes into a point and the faux that goes into a blunt edge. Another technique that you can use is to actually part the fur. So real fur, when you part it, that will actually be skin underneath. And with this one, I've actually cut the side. So you can see here that there is the skin of the animal. Obviously the fur is backed onto skin because it's natural. It's not a man-made product. So if you part the hair, what you'll be looking for is suede and skin. And if we do the same on the fake fur, what you'll see is a mesh that the faux fur is actually attached to. That's obviously how they make it in the factory. So if you look here, let it focus. So if you kind of see where the hair is parted, so here, if you look, you can see that it's actually on a mesh back. Another test that you can do is a burn test. So if it's an item of clothing that you already own, if you just take a small section of the fur and burn it. So real fur will smell and singe in the same way that human hair will. And when fake fur is burnt, it will actually melt rather than singe, and it will just give off a really plasticky odour when it's burnt. So real fur singes and smells like hair, and fake fur smells like plastic and melts. And my last tip is to not be fooled by price. So I always used to think that real fur was big luxurious fur coats and Prada and real high-end fashion, but unfortunately real fur is on the high street for as little as a couple of quid. So this pom-pom hat, which is real fur, can be picked up from any market stall for as little as £5, so don't be fooled by price. And if you are thinking of buying one, please always check, because chances are it's probably real. I'll put some resources on the next page. So if you just screenshot it, it's basically everything that I covered in the video, but it's a handy guide so you can see it a bit easier, so you can check your wardrobe or use it when you're out shopping.